faces, almost time for places. Thank you,
5 minutes to places.
Thank you, 5.
So, Maddie.
Hi, Tami.
Hi, dear. Do you remember your first artistic experience?
Yes. When I was very small, my father was a visual artist, an amateur visual artist, and he used to draw and paint my sisters and I when we were very little. And I guess that sort of like took hold, and I started drawing. And I was obsessed with my mother when I was younger, so I would just draw pictures of her. And it was, it was very sweet. Every picture looked exactly the same. Her body was a heart, and her bottom, her legs were just a bell, and then stick arms and like, a little circular head.
Aww.
I drew so many of those, but then that evolved into me drawing on her. And she was an avid reader, and she would just lay on the couch and read romance novels all day, not all day, but every afternoon. And I would sit at the end of the couch and draw on her feet, draw on the bottom of her feet.
What?
These sort of elaborate like murals. And she found it very relaxing because who doesn't love their feet played with, right?
What?
And I would just use it as a creative outlet. I would actually use my mother as a creative outlet.
Mother as canvas.
Yeah. Yes.
So that was the beginning of your adventure into the world of art. How did you fall into theater? Do you remember that?
I do. I was in a my parents weren't really into the performing arts. I never attended the theater growing up, and also when I was really young, I remember going to the circus and loving the clowns. But then I was really bitten by the theater bug when in the 5th grade, we did some sort of like holiday concert, and I got to sit on stage on a bale of hay and sing a few songs with my class. And it was really that moment of like the curtain sort of opening in the cafetorium and the light sort of blinding you and not being able to see the audience, but feeling that connection between you and the audience. And I totally like blanked on the words, but didn't matter because everyone was singing anyway. And I was just like totally enthralled with that electricity that happened between me and the audience. And I was just like, oh my God, must find more. And from there, I found the community theater. And that was just an absolutely magical place for me and a refuge for me because I was a bit of an outcast socially and otherwise. And I found the community theater and I found the rest of my life.
Thank God for the community theater.
Oh my God, it saved my bacon, that's for sure.
Me too. So you spent your life in the theater. That's a privilege, It's pretty.
It really is. It really is. I feel very lucky.
Yeah.
That I get to do this.
So where do you get your inspiration from to continue on?
Oh, dear Lord. Inspiration is hard to come by these days, isn't it? Prior to this pandemic, I felt very lucky to run a theater. And I would say, I was just inundated with inspiration, producing 5 shows a year. And perhaps I took it for granted. But since the pandemic and we can't produce, it's been a challenge to find it. But, we find it where we can. And right now, I'm really finding it in the work that we're doing with young people at the theater, because we've been able to continue that online and in digital spaces with the young people. And, I know what arts education did for me when I was a kid, and, sort of like reconnecting with that and rediscovering the power of arts education and outreach and a connection to the younger generation has really been incredible. It's a really introspective time for everyone right now. And I think that this is where I'm supposed to be. It's been really great to sort of go back and, evaluate your roots and be grateful. Be freaking grateful for what you have.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's been the kids. It's been the kids, and they live in an online world way easier than we old folks. And so watching them thrive in this online space has been refreshing. I don't think that we should be there all the time, but it's definitely a space that has value and has a purpose.
Yeah. It's been a source of joy for us too. Our education program is really the only thing we have going on right now, and that joy is hard to come by when you're isolated, and to really laugh and have so much fun. It is that community theater energy that just is full of love.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah.
There's a simplicity in it that, and it's just about connecting with each other and connecting with the community, and that's also been inspirational to me. Everyone is hurting right now. Everyone is struggling right now. And to see how the community continues to rally behind live theater, not just my theater, but every theater in my community here, has been really awesome, and it really speaks to the importance of what we do. And, gosh, how many months has it been? 8 months?
7 years, it feels like.
Is
there a project that you want to do either in this virtual quarantine space, or a dream project that you have that when the world opens back up, you're set on realizing?
The dream project for me has always been Glass Menagerie, Tennessee Williams. I mean, Tennessee's my jam. I've never really been able to direct a production of Glass Menagerie. I think I directed a production at a summer camp when I was like 21 or 22 or something. I have an idea for it now that I didn't have before. And the idea came to me last year, a concept that I think is going to be something hopefully really special. So, I have that in my back pocket, and there's just a whole like treasure trove of musicals and plays. And strangely, I've been thinking about Shakespeare lately. I am not a Shakespeare person, but I've been thinking about like the universality of Shakespeare and the power of that. I think I was like listening to an NPR show about it or something. I was like, you know what? I really need to embrace Shakespeare. So I've been inspired to go back and reread the canon of Shakespeare and think about ways that we can queer that.
Okay.
And that can speak to the current moment.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, besides this COVID and global pandemics we're facing, what are the barriers that you face as an artist? What's in your way? What's in your way of doing that Tennessee Williams or queering Shakespeare?
Usually myself. Right now, this beard. I mean, yeah, I think that's true. It's usually myself. I think that there are barriers that the world presents, and I can talk about funding, and I can talk about, how there is a limited view of what queer theater can be in the community. But honestly, I really think most of the time it's me. And this is why I must do yoga every morning and meditate every morning, because I need it. It grounds me and it
Yeah.
keeps me present. It keeps me in the moment. And I'm not spinning into like what ifs, and letting the fear of the bad what ifs grip and control me.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting out of my head and making sure that I'm in the world,
Yeah.
where especially during this pandemic when we're all isolated and we tend towards introspection, I think you can lose the ability to really be present.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is the remedy for yourself? If we're trapped in the bondage of self, what is that remedy? And your idea about, meditation, or your practice of meditation and yoga.
It's just a practice, and it's something, when I started doing it, a few years ago, and I credit you with this, Tami, because in a big way, you showed me, or you allowed me to rediscover yoga and meditation, and it's become such a big part of my life. And I just simply would not be the person I am today without it. It really does build a muscle and a resilience in you, especially when you're working as hard as I work. And I love my work and I love working hard, but it takes its toll.
Sure does, especially as you get
So,
older.
yeah. Oh my God. And this
You
year was
know?
a big turning point for that. Turning 46, I was just like, oh God, this is what they were talking about. I can feel it in my body
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. I
But
mean, you physically, spiritually, emotionally, you can't do what you could do when you were 20. It
yeah,
all changes. And maybe some of
it,
that's good, because maybe we weren't supposed to be doing all the stuff we were doing when we were 20. Um, well, who's inspiring you right now? What artists are you reaching out towards to feed you at this time? Who do you love?
who do I love? I am loving my stable of playwrights that I've been trying to engage with over this quarantine. The work of Sam Hunter, we just did Lewiston Clarkston, which is very much about America and where we are
Mm,
right now, where we came from and where we are. And he has such an elegant way of writing that just sort of goes right to the marrow of the issues that he's pulling apart.
mm,
And the characters are just so deftly drawn. Sam Hunter is big for me right now. The other thing that's really big for me right now is the social justice movement. And I am super into Black Lives Matters and taking on the work that needs to be done in the American theater. We've been working really hard at Diversionary at a anti-racist action plan. And it's been hard work, but necessary work. And it's been inspiring work. We just released our anti-racist action plan about a month ago, and I'm really proud of it. It's not done. We're not done by any stretch of the imagination. We have so much work to do. But I feel like it has opened doors in my soul and in my mind.
mm,
And I can see it doing the same in my staff and in my board. We just did our anti-racist training with the board. That was incredibly exciting to be a part of. And it's long overdue. So,
sure.
yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of years.
Oh,
So,
God.
in that arena, in the social justice arena, who's inspiring you? Who are you looking to for guidance? Who's the light?
I gotta say, right now in the immediate, Andrea Augusta, who is our artistic fellow, who we've been working with really closely around all of this work. She's relatively new to our staff, although we've worked with her on theatrical projects. But our regular engagement with her, and not just in social justice, but in everything artistic at Diversionary, has been really very, very cool. A breath of fresh air, and the ideas that she's bringing to the table, and how we are recentering our organization around social justice once again. You know, we're an LGBTQ theater, so you know, we have been centered on social justice since our inception, but I think right now there is a sort of recentering happening, and she's a big part of that. So I'm super grateful that she's on our team and that she's helping us get there.
I'm grateful that you're doing that work.
Places.
It's showtime.
Here we go.
Showtime. Are you ready for the show?
Ho, ho, ho.
You look fabulous, you ho.
You ho. Let's go get him.
All right, let's do it. Love you.
Love you.